My name is Willie Perdomo, and I will be reading, we used to call it Puerto Rico rain. The rain had just finished saying, "This block is mine." The kind of rain where you could sleep through 2 breakthroughs and still have enough left to belly sing the ambrosial hour. Blood pellets in the dusk and dashes of hail were perfect for finding new stashes. That is to say, visitations were never announced. A broken umbrella handle posed a question by the daycare center. A good time to crush a love on a stoop, to narrate through a window, to find the heartbeat of solitude and collect gallons for the bruja's next baño. Good conditions to be in the dialectic of, oh wow, ooh baby, oh shit, ooh damn. The perfect weather to master the art of standing under a bodega awning, shifting crisis to profit. There's always a dreamer who thinks they can race the rain to the building, who loves the smell of wet concrete and uses a good downpour to be discreet. There's always one toddler who quietly crawls off the top step, dodges a thunderbolt, and quickly becomes fluent in all things stormy weather. Story goes that Don Julio was swept up, ripped around the corner, stumbled and cartwheeled to the light post, but he never let go of his pork pie hat. An improvised ballet near an improvised rivulet. Shopping bags, pulverized by branches, contort into a new nation of black flags. Our block was our island. The manhole on the corner perked with popsicle sticks, empty beer cans, and the brown sole of a fake karate slipper as we started to sink and boil. The forecast, you said, was type perfect. I used to sort of be in awe of when it rained so hard that the curves would just be sort of these streams. And we would put popsicle sticks and race them all the way down the street. But it was also interesting to see what would actually clog up the sewer, because that in itself sort of told a story, right? About the neighborhood, about habits and so on. I grew up on 122nd Street in Lexington, in East Harlem. When it got windy, when that wind would turn the corner, we used to call it a hawk. And there was a story about one of the elderly men who had been sort of ripped down the corner by this particular hawk. You know, I had never seen it, but I remember the story, and that made its way into the poem. Most importantly, is about the kids, the young men in this book, and the relationship to an island archipelago like Puerto Rico, having never been there. So that when it rains torrentially, even if it rains for 5 minutes, someone says, "Oh, it rains like that. That's that Puerto Rico rain." And then, having been to Puerto Rico, you're like, "Oh yeah, you're right. It is that Puerto Rico rain, because it rains like heavy for like 5 minutes, and then it stops." So the poem is calling attention to the island as well. So I would just open the window and let the poems come to me, right? Like, that's all you had to do, really. That's exactly what it was. Like, you sort of uncover the shade, put up the window, and then all the stories would just come flowing in. There is a mention of love and intimation of sex as well in the poem, right? So that happens too. So I think on the one hand, there's room for sort of tragedy. On the other hand, there's room for hope. Whitman's all over this book, and very much, you know, I think the whole idea of that being electric and being fresh, and thinking about how free and liberated I want to be with my lines. I could have easily burning the margin a little bit. I didn't want to though. I wanted to go breathless with this, and I wanted to just have as much fun as I could. I went to French seminary. I got plucked out of my school in East Harlem at a public school, and I went to a Quaker school. And I'm saying that as a way of saying this is like sort of my introduction to writing poems, because there was a receptionist there. His name was Ed Randolph. And he had read some poems during an assembly period that was just, for me, it was electric. I never heard anything like it, and they took place uptown. And I came to him, I said, I think I want to write poetry. He says, all right. So instead of giving me books of poems to read, he gives me 2 books. He gives me The World of Apples by John Cheever, and he gives me Leaf Storm by Garcia Marquez. So it's there, right? Like that kind of apprenticeship, those early sounds, that early language, the early story, and they just stay with you. And it's not like I'm sitting down and thinking, okay, I would definitely want some Leaf Storm in this, but it's already there. It's in there. So I'm glad you caught that, because there is an element to that magic that I felt that my neighborhood was, this block that you're talking about. I felt like it was just one of the most magical places in the world, and that I didn't really have to go far to find the meaning of life, and what beauty and truth meant.